Hey there, welcome back to Limabean Crafting. In today's video, I will be showing you how I made this adorable little rainbow using about $5 worth of Dollar Tree products. So let's get to it. For this craft, you will need some yarn. I got these 4 different colors from the Dollar Tree, but you could go to any craft store and find colors that you prefer. You are also going to need 1 pack of decorative nautical rope from the Dollar Tree. I also used some beads that I had on hand and some acrylic paint that I picked up from Target for a previous craft. I think the Dollar Tree sells similar beads, but I'm sure that you could find beads like this at any craft store. You will also need scissors, a comb, and hot glue for this craft. The first thing I did was paint my beads so that by the time I was ready to use them, they would be dry. My technique here was to suspend the beads on a Q-tip as I painted them so that I could paint the entire bead without getting paint on my hands and without having to wait for one side to dry. When I was done painting, I unraveled my nautical rope and mapped out how large I wanted my rainbow to be by weaving the rope back and forth until I was happy with the size. I marked where I wanted the colors to start, and then I cut the individual strands of the nautical rope. The approximate measurements of the rope from the outer strand to the inner strand are 16 inches, 15 inches, 13 inches, and 11 inches. However, it is better to overestimate these measurements because we will be trimming off some of the rope later on. Then it was time to add the colored yarn. I began by tying a knot about 3 to 4 inches up one strand of the nautical rope, and then wrapped the yarn around the nautical rope, making sure not to have any of the white rope exposed. I should also mention that I made sure to lay the end of the strand of yarn on the nautical rope as I wrapped it to avoid having to trim the yarn later. When I had about 3 to 4 inches of nautical rope left, I secured the yarn to the rope by tying 2 knots. For the remaining colors, I started off the strands the same way, and as I got close to the end, I lined up my rainbow strands to make sure that the colors ended at approximately the same location. Next, I took some of the top colored yarn and tied a strand around the top so that I could hang the rainbow later on. As far as the length goes, I just made sure it was long enough to fit the 3 beads I had painted earlier and still have a little loop left over. Then it was time to assemble and secure the rainbow. I used hot glue to secure each of the layers. I started by putting hot glue on the outer edge of the innermost band of the rainbow and attaching the next band. Then I repeated this process until it was time to attach the last layer. As I was gluing, I made sure to tuck in the ends of the loop I had tied earlier so that they wouldn't stick out in the final design. Once the rainbow was assembled, I unraveled the strands of nautical rope and combed through the strands until they were nice and frayed. And then I trimmed these to be equal lengths on either side. You can make these as short or as long as you want. I should also note that at this point I trimmed the colored yarn ends that were sticking out so that there wouldn't be any colors in the frayed pieces of nautical rope. Finally, I fed the top loop of yarn through the holes of the beads and tied a knot and a bow above the beads to make sure that they wouldn't slide off too easily, using a different colored strand of yarn. This also gave a nice pop of color to the top of the design. I am really happy with how this craft turned out, and I hope you are too. If you are new to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, and I will catch you in the next one.